Have you ever left a meeting thinking that, man, I said way more than I should have? Oftentimes, this is a natural thing that happens where when you speak up and you have something to say, you over explain. You add a lot of detail, different angles, different things to consider that oftentimes detract from your main point. And the reason behind this is usually a good one. It's for protection. You don't necessarily want people to misunderstand what you're trying to say. So you load it up with all of the different aspects that can appropriately, in your mind, convey what it is that you're trying to get across. But this usually leads to what can be known as the clarity paradox, where the more clear you're trying to be, often produces a very unclear result. And so conciseness is very important in professional contexts. Usually getting your point across in an appropriate amount of words helps people understand and take what you're trying to convey and then move forward with it. And a lot of times people think that conciseness is usually equivalent to brevity. That is, the less I say, the better. But that's not always the truth. Sometimes you can ramble and it's only in 30 seconds. Sometimes you can have a 10-minute presentation and it's very concise. The point is clarity. The point is getting your point across in a way that is understandable to your audience. So, next time that you over-explain, instead of going with context, and then point, reverse it to where the conclusion or the main point is what begins your thought. So instead of saying, I looked at the numbers and we evaluated this and remember when that person said that, and just adding all this detail, you immediately start with, I think we should go with point B, here's why. So you start with the conclusion, then you give your reasoning with supporting detail. When you make that shift, when you reverse the natural tendency to add all the detail, then people have a much greater ability to understand you and then to make improvements based off of what you said. So over-explanation is usually a response that has to do with pressure and being safe in environments where potentially people might not like what you have to say. So it's understandable. But by simply reversing and starting with the clear point and then adding the detail after, it restructures the conversation to one of impact and one with purpose behind it. So, moving forward in your next meeting or professional environment situation, try that shift. Make a move from adding all of this additional detail and instead making the point clear. Because oftentimes when we add all this context and detail, even if the point in our own minds and assessments is right there in the middle, oftentimes people don't see that. They don't know. There's only so much information that the human mind can process bit by bit. That's why when we read a book, it's word by word or sentence by sentence. Of course, there are some individuals who can speed read and photographic memory and that, but for the grand majority of the population, it's information as it's coming in bit by bit. And so the next time that you're looking to make a contribution, remember that. Make it easy on your audience. Now, I've taught public speaking before at the college level, and that is always a huge consideration to keep in mind, taking care of your audience. Because you have no idea what they have going on, what they're thinking about, what they're trying to say, what their agendas are. So you got to make it easy on everybody. And so again, understanding that this is a safety response to over-explain, that you're trying to protect yourself by making sure that other people don't misinterpret where you're coming from. But all you got to do is shift it. And then it goes from extra to concise, further promoting your influence in the office or whatever setting you may be in, and instantiating in the minds of everybody else that you are a clear communicator who can navigate the pressures of workplace dynamics effortlessly because you have this simple structure in place. So, I hope you enjoyed that. If you're still interested in learning more about professional communication and all of the different dynamics and things to keep in mind moving forward, please consider subscribing to this channel. At Resonavoce, we're very committed to helping professionals become stronger, more influential communicators. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.